Hi, in this tutorial we will model this shape here. It's like a lamp. I was inspired by this model here, but this tutorial is not design specific. We will not gonna replicate the same design with the same dimensions. It's just a way to see how we can approach something like this. At the end of the tutorial, we will be able to control all aspects of this model. I can change the overall diameter, for example. I can control this angle here. Also this transition, how strong it is or how smooth, something like this. I can control the bulge. I can control the number of sections. I can control the height. Also, this part here. I can control also the sections depth and width. So basically, this is what we're gonna end up with. So let's start from scratch. First, from curve, we'll bring a circle. Choose a value for the radius with a couple of decimals. I will rotate the circle using rotate 3D. The angle in degrees. The axis is the y-axis. Now for the center of rotation, now by default it will use the center, but if you want more control, we can go to surface and use the area and use the centroid for the center. Now I will hide this. Now the angle. If you remove the default name, the name of the slider will be the same as the input. So now I will make two copies with move. You can press Alt while you're dragging to create a copy from the component. Z for both, but here in expression I will type in -x. That means every value I plug here, it will be minus. So and I will bring a slider to control the offset. For the middle, to create the bulge, I will bring scale. The center of the scale is the also centroid. Now I will subdivide those three circles from curve, division, divide, curve. I will make 3 copies. We'll use the same count. This will determine the number of sections. Okay, now for the height of this lamp from this side and this side, I need to create a copy from these vertices here and then move them up. Same thing for these and move them down. So one trick I can use, I will put these points in a group. We'll see, I will show you why I'm doing this, because in the end I want to straighten up these vertices. So I will choose group, scale non-uniform, so I can scale on a specific axis, which is Z, and I will use a panel and type 0. So now, as you can see, it's straight now. Now I can move these up. With 2 decimals. Now the nature of these objects now are groups. So what I will do to make them a list of vertices again. So I will use ungroup. I will do the same thing for these points, but here in the move I will type -x. I will use the 0 for both. You can use the same height if you like to have the same height, or you can keep them separate. So now I have all these points. What I need to do is now create a curve that goes from this point to this point and up. So if I see the data structure for these points, I will see that they are all in one group. What I need to do is to create a group of groups, and each subgroup contains one point from each set. So the first vertex from here with this first vertex of from here and here, and so that I can create a spline that goes vertically. So what I can do here, okay, let's bring the panel again. I can right click and say graft. So now each point here has its own list, and this become a container of lists, and these lists, they don't communicate with each other. They are just like separate lists on the canvas, but now here they are in the same, this container here. So I will do the same thing with these graft, and these here graft, and here also graft. What will happen when I join these, now they are all, this has the same logic. When I join them together, what will happen is that the first sublist will join the first sublist from here and the first sublist from here, etc. So that I can have a sublist here, for example, that contain the first vertex from this set here with the first vertex here, so that when I plug the spline, the NURBS curve, for example, will have a spline that goes from the bottom up. But we need to be careful about something, the data structure here. You can see the depth. Here, for example, we have different. So to make this merge successful, what I will do, I will right click, in addition to graft, I will say simplify. Same thing for here. Simplify. And I will do the same for all. So now I can bring a merge component. I will start from the bottom first, then here, this one here, okay, I forgot to graft and simplify this one. The fourth and the fifth. If we look at the result, you can see that each subgroup contained 5 points. Now, if I bring a NURBS curve, I can hide everything. I can increase the scale for the bulge. What is left now is to create the profile and then use the sweep one to create the surface. So to create these profiles, I need to get the plane of each of these splines here, because I want to create a profile that is centered around this bottom vertex, vertices here, and these profiles needs to follow the orientation of these splines. So from curve, perpendicular frames, I don't need all these count here, so I would use one. I just need one. You can see the orientation. This is the X and this is the Y. Now I can create a rectangle on these planes here. For the size, as you can see, the size is a domain. If you look here, a domain, it will start from this direction, the -y, and then, for example, if I use a domain of -2 and 2 for the minimum and maximum, that means the width is 4, and the same thing for the y. So from math, I can bring a domain and another domain for the y. I will use, let's say, okay, that's too big, of course. I'll make it small. And the end the same. And here I will say -x. So we'll have -1 from here and -1 from here, from this direction. So this dimension here is 2, and I will use the same logic here. -x. So the only thing I need to do now is to simply bring sweep 1, and I will use these curves for the rail and the rectangles for the sections. Now I can hide everything. Now these are open from both sides, so I can close them using capped holes. Hide from display, custom preview, hide. and swatch, control the color. Rendered mode. So now I can control the number of sections. The height. The bulge. This orientation here. The total diameter. The transition, I can make it smoother. I can control the width and depth for the segments. And at the end, you can bake the result. You can use here group so that all of them will come in as group in Rhino. You can create multiple variations from this. Bake. And that's it for this tutorial. Hope you like it. If you do, please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next tutorial. Thank you.